Hello, and welcome to the American Massage and Chiropractic Conference pre-conference broadcast series on One Concept Radio. I'm Felicia Brown, and I'll be your host for this interview and series. This is one of several broadcasts with the presenters and experts who are appearing in Atlanta, Georgia, May 17th through 19th, 2013, and who are brought to you by One Concept. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the 2013 American Massage and Chiropractic Conference sponsors, Massage Warehouse Script, MPA Media, ABMP, BioFreeze, and Massage Envy Careers for making this year's event possible. Our special guest today is Whitney Lowe. Whitney and I will be talking about his 3-hour classes, Technique Synergy, Treatment Integration for Complex Conditions, and the Fab Four, Must-Have Skills of Advanced Therapy. But first, let me tell you a little bit about Whitney. Whitney Lowe has been a massage professional for over 25 years. He is the author of Orthopedic Assessment in Massage Therapy and Orthopedic Massage Theory and Technique. Whitney also offers advanced clinical massage training via hands-on workshops, books, DVDs, and produces one of the profession's most innovative online training programs. Whitney, welcome to the American Massage and Chiropractic Conference pre-conference broadcast series on One Concept Radio. Thank you so much, as always, for making time to talk with me about the event and your classes.
Well, and thank you very much, Felicia. It's great to be here again and to be a participant in this year's upcoming conference. Looking forward to it, as with all the American Massage Conference events that are a wonderful opportunity. So thank you all very much for letting me participate once again.
It's truly our pleasure. And, I'm really interested to hear more about these new classes of yours. And as always, I'm looking forward to seeing you at the conference. Now, there are some things that are going to be a little bit different this year, and one of those is a new focus at this year's conferences on the idea of creating community by adding a community room in which attendees can visit with speakers more personally and actually learn more about how they can make a real difference at home and in our profession. So I'm curious, Whitney, why do you think it's important to create community in the massage or healing arts world, in our practices and businesses, and at the conference?
Well, this idea of community is one of the things that's really most valuable and most important about a conference like this, because it's the one time when massage practitioners get to meet with other practitioners, not only in their area, but from other parts of the country or other parts of the world, and network with those individuals and learn things. And despite the outstanding classroom activities that are going on, the educational sessions presented throughout the conference, some of the most valuable things come out of those networking opportunities of just meeting and speaking with other individuals and people, and it's a great opportunity to get to do something like that. And, as massage practitioners, so many people spend the majority of their day in a treatment room with one client at a time, and it can get to be a little bit isolating. So this is an outstanding opportunity to broaden your sphere of network and get a chance to work with some other practitioners and learn from people who are doing things in other areas.
Absolutely. I agree with you completely. And this is a new spin on that networking type of thing. And I think as someone who's been in the profession for a long time like you, we are the mentors, so to speak. We are the people that are out there guiding others. But it's my hope that in this community room and focus, we're going to help the other people that are in our profession, maybe some of the newer folks, see that they too can have that role, that they can be a mentor to someone, or to reach out and make a difference with people that they have in their sphere, that it's not just up to us.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I would say, too, it goes both ways, because I have learned so much over the many years from students in classes and things like that, and gotten new ideas about doing things. So I learn a great deal when I come to these events from other individuals as well. So I think that's, it's certainly something that goes both ways and gives us an opportunity to both share and to learn and see what other people can share with us as well.
Without a doubt. I think we're so lucky to be able to have that ability to learn from our students as well as to be there as teachers. So thanks for sharing that and letting people know we do try to learn from them too.
Yes.
So let's jump into talking about your classes. You've got a couple of different ones in the 3-hour format. The first one is on Technique Synergy. So can you start by telling me what exactly you mean by Technique Synergy and what that can do for the massage practitioner?
Yeah, if you look at the sort of the continuing education landscape, or even the entry-level education landscape, for the way that we're taught massage, we tend to learn it as a series of different modalities or techniques, and just because that's the way it's presented, that is the way that we sometimes tend to frame the way we practice it as well. And one of the things that I want to emphasize in this class when we talk about technique synergy, we're talking about the way in which you put together various different approaches to really create the most effective results for any type of scenes that you're working on with your clients. So, for example, in many instances, I've seen situations where a unique client problem was something that was really best addressed with a combination of different approaches and maybe mixing theoretical principles from two or more different types of technique approaches. But it's not just a matter of throwing a bunch of stuff into a pot and stirring it around and see if it works, because underlying all of these things is a fundamental rational understanding of why you are doing what you're doing. So in order for something like this concept of technique synergy to really work, you've got to understand the physiological underpinnings of these different techniques and why they would be most effective blended together. So that's what we're going to look at in this course, is some examples of how to do this with a number of different technique approaches that we'll put together, and also encourage people to sort of get out of that box and think creatively themselves of what have they studied, what have they learned in their world, and how might they blend some different things together for addressing unique clinical problems.
So if I understand correctly, then you're going to be looking at some specific approaches that maybe you have found helpful and how you might blend those together, but you're also suggesting that people come from whatever it is that they've already learned or what they're bringing to the table.
Absolutely. So we're doing this as a means of sort of providing some examples for things in terms of the way that they might do, but you're going to find, of course, as in any class, that every person comes to that class with a different educational sort of palette, we might say, that they've learned a number of different things that might be very effective for them, and they may vary from person to person. So we want to address and sort of tap into each person's unique educational background experience so they can have something that would be unique and beneficial for them coming out of it.
Well, now you mentioned, this palette of classes and continuing education. Do people need to have taken a lot of other CE courses to really get something out of your class?
I don't think so at all, because, again, this kind of gets back to our topic of community, that we're going to learn a lot from the experiences of others. And, in a continuing education workshop, this frequently happens. You'll have a practitioner who's been out of school a year who, simply because they happen to be sitting next to somebody who's been in practice for 17 years, ends up working with that individual on the treatment table, and you might end up sharing and learning a lot of things. So by no means there's no requirement for any specific things that anybody would have to have done. We'll take whatever's there and see where we go with it.
That's fantastic. And, it's interesting how sometimes that person you end up sitting next to really there's a major connection, or it helps you to find the path that you're on, or really have that aha moment that you've been waiting for. And it's just, it seems so random that what seat you pick or what partner you choose, but sometimes there really seems to be, shall I say, synergy.
Exactly. There you go. Right.
Fantastic. Yeah. Well, that sounds like a great class and something that would be good for any level practitioner in any discipline.
I think so, and it kind of gets back to, again, this idea of us getting away from learning techniques and approaches as a routine or a recipe, and gets us back into that mindset of becoming a creative thinker in the way that we apply the things that we're doing in the clinic and the treatment room, so that we're not just, opening up the book and saying, well, I got to do, I went to this course and here's the treatment manual and I got to do, 3 of these and 4 of those on the shoulder and it will work, because that's just not the way things work in reality. Everybody and every body is different. So we have to learn to think creatively and address those types of things in a unique fashion. And this really helps stimulate those kind of thinking processes.
I think that's really important too, Whitney, because I would say as a practitioner myself that one of my favorite things about doing massage and other healing modalities that I've learned is the problem-solving aspect of it, to look at the situation and say, ooh, what tools do I get to pull out of my toolbox today to use that, but I'm not sure that that critical thinking process or that creative thinking process, the problem solving, is really taught all that much. And that sometimes it is just the, well, here's the technique and here's how many times you do the stroke and here's the order that you do it in. And I think that's really valuable that you're bringing that approach to the class.
Absolutely agree. Yeah, so this is something we want to help encourage, a different type of thinking process also.
Well, you're the one to do it. You're definitely, I think, going to make a great impact on the people in that class. I'm really curious about the Fab Four, though. You gotta enlighten me on this. I really love the title, but you gotta give me a little bit of a heads up. So, what is the Fab Four? Is it a specific series of massage techniques?
Well, we're kind of back to that same thing again, which is that I want to really encourage people to get away from this sort of idea of specific recipe and routine things, but we all kind of benefit from some sort of structure and understanding of how to put together the concepts of what we're going to do. So this Fab Four idea is really a systematic process of looking at how do you make decisions about what you're going to do in your treatment methods. Ideally, those decisions are based on some form of assessment or evaluation of the client's situation, and then a choice or determination about what's going to be most effective in helping them. So these are going to present some guidelines that will help the practitioners really put together an appropriate structured treatment plan based on something that really is reason-based and has a sort of a systematic method or process to it.
Well, I love hearing that. One of the classes that I teach, although I'm not teaching it at this conference, is on soap notes and utilizing soap notes to make your practice more successful. What I have found, and forgive my silliness here, but what I've found is that people have problem peeing. The P in soap notes, the planning. They're not good at creating the treatment plan. They might be really good at, finding out what's going on with the client and doing their own assessment. Objective assessment, and then actually taking action and putting forth, the techniques that they think make sense. But as far as moving forward from there to creating a long-term treatment plan or planning beyond today, I see a lot of people fail in that. And so, this sounds like you're kind of creating a basis for helping people to pee better.
Yeah, and that's absolutely, but that's true. There's a lot of truth in that, and a lot of that comes from sort of a lack of a good understanding of what is the intended outcome of a particular technique or treatment process that I'm choosing. Like if I'm choosing to do, a series of cross fiber techniques or a series of deep stripping techniques with a client for a particular problem or pain complaint, why am I doing that? What's the physiological rationale behind it? And if I do this, how long should it take for the person to get better? And this is, again, back to some of those fundamental questions of why we do the things that we do that don't always get addressed in a recipe or routine-based approach. So this is another way of really encouraging that clinical reasoning and critical thinking process that's so crucial for a healthcare professional that we just don't tend to get as thoroughly in our basic massage education, as you were saying.
Most definitely. And so as you're talking about the whys of why you're doing a particular technique, the outcome, the result, et cetera, I'm wondering if this is an approach that somebody can put immediately into practice or if it's going to take, a bit more time to utilize it.
Yeah, I really see this as a structure that can be put immediately into practice, and you can sort of structure and design it around the way you set up your own practice and the way that you do your own unique things, whether you work in a spa, a clinic, a private practice environment. It doesn't really matter, but you can have some kind of structural framework for understanding the basis of the decisions that you make. And we all make decisions every day in the treatment room, whether we really think about it or not. What am I going to choose to do? A client comes in and has a certain thing that they were looking for, but you get a sense that you really need to do a particular type of work with them. Why are you choosing that course, and what do you want to have come out of it? What are the intended outcomes that you want that are going to make that a successful session and that's going to make the client happy and pleased that they came to see you and want to come back and do it some more. And those are some of the fundamental questions that we're essentially all asking in our treatment processes.
Right, and I think what I hear you saying is that, the goal is to make the client happy so that they get the outcome they're looking for. And it's not just, well, I think they need such and such, even though they said they wanted this. It's, for me, the way I go about this, I'll just give an example. A lot of times I'll have clients say, I don't want abdominal work. On my intake form, I have an option for them to say, I want abdominal work, I want gluteal work, or I don't. So that's required in our state. And a lot of times people will say, I don't want abdominal work, but then they'll be complaining about neck and shoulder pain. Well, what I found in my clients is one of the most effective things I can do is to do, in some people, not everyone, is to do a little bit of abdominal work to release the abs so that there's not so much strain on the neck and shoulders. And so, but if I just did abdominal work without going through that explanation of saying, well, I know you've checked this butt, let me explain why this could help and why we might choose to do that even though you're saying you don't want it, usually people will go, will come around and say, oh, well, that makes perfect sense. And when I explain how we're going to do it and what it's going to do and what it'll feel like and what the outcome will be, then they're happy to go along for the ride and they get the result they want. But I'm not going counter to what their intent is for the session.
Yeah, and that's such a crucial point, too, that essentially getting back to this whole issue of why we do the things that we do and being able to sit down and say to somebody, well, here are the potential benefits for this, and explain that. And it's what if you're only thinking about things in terms of, a series of different techniques that you're going to put together and do for somebody without a good comprehensive rationale or understanding of why you're doing those things, then it's going to be much more difficult to do that. And what you're talking about is exactly what we're trying to encourage and influence more of. Right.
Well, it sounds like this is going to really help people to get clear on that. So, again, with people, we've talked about people having lots of education or being newbies. Is there a particular skill level that a practitioner needs in order to take this course and get something out of it?
I think people at all different skill levels could get a variety of different things out of it. And again, your clinical experience, if you've got a great deal of clinical experience and you've been doing a lot of different things, you're going to probably apply some of these concepts at a higher level and a more detailed, structured level than somebody will who's just out of school. But the individual who's not been in practice for a large number of years can really benefit from this by having some structural frameworks to understand the why of what they're doing there and see how it would apply to specific clinical problems.
Fantastic. Now, I know you're also, in addition to these 2-hour or 3-hour classes, you're teaching a 1-hour class. That's a little bit different than these technique or critical thinking, problem-solving, assessment-oriented classes. This is about maximizing the web. In fact, it's titled Exploring New Worlds, Maximizing the Web. So bridge the gap for me and let me know what's the difference or what's going to be going on in that class and why people would be interested in that over these more technique treatment-based classes.
Well, honestly, Felicia, this is one of I'm really excited about this 1-hour class because it's one of the topics that I've been delving into quite a bit in the last decade or so in looking at the ways in which we engage our own personal learning processes, and especially now with the explosion and the development of all the learning resources that are available on the web. So what I want to do in this class is really introduce a lot of practitioners to a number of things that they may not be aware of that will greatly enhance their practice, from discussions about how to access research articles through PubMed and databases that are online, how to set up and construct personal learning networks using Facebook or Twitter, and how to find people who can help you solve clinical problems, how to construct various different resources, how to find things out there that are free that give you a tremendous amount of just-in-time knowledge. So, for example, a client comes in and has a complaint. How do you get information quickly on something like that so that you can be able to address things with them? And there is a huge amount of resources out there and available, and a lot of practitioners are not as well versed in how to easily access those things and put them into practice. So that's what I hope to share with everybody in this short 1-hour session, is putting together some strategies for using these resources that will be most effective for helping your clinical practice.
Well, for me, I find that really interesting as someone who's taught social media for many years, or long, well, it's been popular, I should say, as a medium for marketing and education. I often encounter people that are very resistant to the internet in general, and in particular, social media, even learning tools. I don't know why that is. I mean, if you don't like to do something, I feel like, well, then just don't do it. But they're almost saying, this is the downfall of society, and I can't believe our culture is wrapped up in this. And I'm thinking, gosh, there's so much that can be gained from, like, what you're talking about, these classes. I know you are the person that introduced me to the TED Talks a couple of years ago. Just the amount of education, knowledge, information that's out there is truly unlimited. And, I'm glad to see that you're...
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, I'm just glad to see that you're exposing people to that, or sharing that with them.
Yeah, and what you mentioned there, too, is a really good point, that a lot of times people are resistant to some of these ideas because what they might see or what they have experienced has been something that's just not really done much for them. For example, when I first got introduced to Twitter, and I saw what people are doing, and watching some of the Twitter streams, it's like, I really don't care what somebody's having for lunch, and I don't want to spend my time reading all this content. The same thing is true with Facebook. There's a lot of people who just overuse Facebook, like everybody really cares about every single thing that they're doing. But that's not the reason to throw the whole baby out with the bathwater, because Twitter and Facebook both have, for me, become incredible focused learning channels by finding ways to filter the content into what I really need and what's really valuable and useful. And they've become just invaluable to me as learning channels and learning resources.
Agreed. I'm so with you on that. Is there anything else that you will share in that class as far as with massage therapists, learning tools or techniques on how to utilize those tools?
Yeah, so what I want to focus on are things that I feel like can really help people in their day-to-day practice. I am a clearly self-admitted geek that I love learning technology and internet resources and things like that, but I know a large percentage of people in this profession are not drawn to that type of thing and feel like, well, I don't want to deal with this kind of stuff. I'm more of a hands-on kind of person or whatever. And what I really hope to do is to help people realize that those two things aren't in opposition to each other, that there's a lot of really valuable resources that can both enhance community and enhance your sense of connection and understanding with people, and greatly enhance a lot of the things that you do in your own clinical practice. As you noted here, I have had numerous instances where I've developed very close relationships with people over years and years before I ever met them in person, and yet I had a tremendous amount that I learned from them and shared with them through some of these different types of connections that first developed in some of these different forums or discussion groups or things like that. So what I really hope to do is to open people's eyes to a lot of the potential that exists out there and take these resources and help them enhance your practice and your life in this profession as well.
Yeah, I have to second that. And one story I love to tell about friends I met through social media. A number of people have David Otto. He's the president of was the president of the Las Vegas Massage Therapists Association. Now is the president of the Nevada AMTA. But he and I met on LinkedIn in a discussion I was doing on social media in the classroom. And now, because of that, he and I, every time we're at conferences together, we go running. We've become great friends. I didn't know who he was. We'd never met at a conference or in a class. We met in LinkedIn, and we got together when I was in Las Vegas one year just to get together, and now we're great friends. And not only do we have that friendship, but I learned a lot from that particular exercise on how people were using social media in the classroom. And I know that whatever people are trying to learn, they can get that same kind of input and invaluable connection with people.
Yeah. And I think, those of us who are far more immersed in this recognize and realize that, and I think probably most everybody else is probably going to see this and be probably ready to admit it too, that this is not going away. The way in which technology is becoming technology and connection is becoming a part of our lives. You know, the people carrying smartphones around that basically have the world's knowledge accessible to them in their pocket. It's not going away. It's going to continue to become a greater and greater part of what our lives are about. And I really want to see people get some benefit out of it, and not just, look at videos of cats on vacuum cleaners and that kind of thing,
Although that has its place too.
Right. That's right.
Well, Whitney,
I do my share of those things. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. We all have our moments of weakness.
Yeah.
I know that people are going to want to take these classes at the conference, but in the meantime, they may want to get in touch with you, check out your website, or look at some of these online classes that you're offering. How can people get in touch with you best?
The best place is through our website, which is the Orthopedic Massage Education and Research Institute, and that is quite a mouthful, so we cut it down to the acronym of OMERI, and so you can find us at our website, omeri.com. That's OMERI.com, and that's got information about all kinds of stuff that we've got going on here with books, DVDs, online courses, and all kinds of other interesting things there.
Well, I hope everyone will check out that website for Omeri. And, of course, I know that people listening do want to come to the conference and register for your actual live classes. They are Technique Synergy, Treatment Integration for Complex Conditions, and the Fab 4, Must-Have Skills of Advanced Therapy, as well as your 1-hour class, Exploring New Worlds, Maximizing the Web. Whitney, thank you so much for taking time to be with us today and for choosing to be a part of the 2013 American Massage and Chiropractic Conference. As always, we are thrilled to have you at this year's event.
Thank you so much, Felicia, and I want to extend a thank you again to you and Scott and the rest of the staff there at One Concept for inviting me to be part of this, and I'm looking forward to another great and exciting event coming up in Atlanta.
It's going to be a blast. Can't wait to see you.
Mm-hmm. And I'll turn on my southern accent there as well.
Back in hometown Atlanta, right?
Back in the hometown, that's right.
That's great. Well, Whitney, I'm going to switch gears now and let everybody know just how they can be a part of this year's conference. The American Massage and Chiropractic Conference is one of the largest exhibitions of massage and chiropractic products, continuing education, and business opportunities for practitioners of both disciplines. This year's conference will feature over 100 exhibitors, continuing education classes of 1-hour, 3-hour, and 1-day workshops, including Whitney's. Other events during the weekend include Friday night's famous Facebook meet and greet, where our theme is disco, and the One Concept Gala on Saturday night. For students, the conference offers a free student day and Smart from the Start program on Friday, May 17th, which is sponsored by Massage Envy, Massage Warehouse Script, and BioFreeze, as well as Bon Vital. This day is dedicated to massage and chiropractic students who are currently enrolled in school or who will graduate in 2013 and includes access to our opening session and trade show on Friday. The new conference value pass is just $87. This is for non-students, of course, and includes access to all 1-hour CE presentations, trade show, contests, events, community room, and more. And this year, we are also introducing the One Concept Pass, your ticket to full conference access. The One Concept Pass is just $349, $299 if you purchase early, and includes full days with James Wozlowski and Eric Brown, all 3-hour classes, including classes with Whitney Lowe, Aaron Mattis, Tina Allen, myself, and all 1-hour presentations. All education is approved by the NCB, TMB, and Florida CE broker, and CEs are included for chiropractors. Also, the One Concept Pass covers lunch each day, as well as access to the trade show, the chance to participate in special events, community opportunities, and contests and raffles with literally thousands of dollars in prizes. Reserve your place now and save hundreds of dollars with the One Concept Pass. Now, all of this is happening at the Sheraton Atlanta, and I definitely suggest you make plans to stay there if possible. Single or double rates are just $129 a night, but space is limited, so please make your reservations now. Also, MPA Media is printing the American Massage and Chiropractic Conference event program inside all 3 of their magazines, Massage Today and Dynamic Chiropractic. These will be given out at the conference and distributed throughout the U.S. to over 133,000 practitioners. So if you are a vendor or an educator who is listening in today and you want to get some great exposure for your class or product, please contact Randy Garrison of MPA Media for details on being a part of the conference program. So now, if you're ready to register for the American Massage and Chiropractic Conference in Atlanta, of course, to meet Whitney Lowe, myself, and the other amazing instructors, there is one way to do so. You may start by just going online to AmericanMassageConference.com or AmericanChiropracticConference.com, depending on your discipline. Then you may pick your courses instantly, and you may also become connected with us on Facebook. That's Facebook.com/American Massage Conference and /American Chiropractic Conference. Again, the 2013 American Massage and Chiropractic Conference is made possible by all of our wonderful sponsors. Thank you so much to Massage Warehouse Script, MPA Media, ABMP, BioFreeze, and Massage Envy Careers. This is Felicia Brown, and on behalf of everyone from the American Massage and Chiropractic Conference and One Concept Radio, I want to thank you for tuning into this edition of the pre-conference broadcast series. We look forward to seeing you in Atlanta in May. Please also consider joining us later this year for the American Massage, Chiropractic, and Spa Conference in San Diego, California in September, and the Canadian Massage and Chiropractic Conference in October in Niagara Falls, Ontario. Thanks again for tuning in, and have a fabulous day.